Welcome to the National Right to Work's weekly news wrap-up. The National Right to Work Legal Defense Foundation averages about 200 active cases at any given time. Our goal is to help keep you informed about these cases as they move through the legal system. This week's update covers action involving the AFT Plumbers and Machinists unions. To protect his constitutional rights, a New York educator is fighting the New York State United Teachers Union. National Right to Work Legal Defense Foundation staff attorneys took the first step by filing New York Public Employment Relations Board charges against the NEA-AFT local. Robert Miller resigned formal union membership, but because New York does not have right to work protection, workers may still be forced to pay part of union dues just to keep their jobs. Even with this compulsory unionism power, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that workers have the constitutional right to refrain from full dues paying union membership and cannot be required to pay union dues or fees spent for union political activities. Teachers union officials ignored Miller's rights and continued to collect full union dues from his paychecks and have failed to provide any Supreme Court-precedent procedural protections. Erie Community College union officials are legally forcing Mr. Miller and possibly other non-member instructors into paying for the union's political agenda, said Mark Mix, president of the National Right to Work Foundation. New York desperately needs a right to work law, making union membership and dues payment strictly voluntary. With the National Right to Work Foundation staff attorney's help, 3 Cushman and Wakefield's workers forced plumbers and pipe fitters union officials to refund illegally confiscated dues. Union bosses even demanded that these Cushman employees join the union or be fired. Even though Delaware does not have right to work protections making union affiliation completely voluntary, the U.S. Supreme Court has long held that workers have the right to refrain from full dues paying union membership. Ignoring constitutional protections, plumbers and pipe fitters union officials deducted full union dues from these employees' paychecks. After federal charges were filed on behalf of these employees, union officials agreed to back off their threats and intimidation of the workers and to refund illegally seized union dues. Plumbers Local 74 union officials flushed these workers' rights down the toilet in order to keep their forced dues gravy train going, said Mark Mix. In another victory for National Right to Work Foundation staff attorneys, this time on the West Coast, school bus drivers slammed the brake on AFT union officials' threats. In Gresham, Oregon, a group of local school bus drivers won a federal settlement, including payback. Oregon School Employees Union officials had illegally demanded that all drivers join the union and pay full union dues or be fired. The settlement stems from a federal charge 6 of the drivers filed with the National Labor Relations Board Regional Office in Seattle with free legal assistance from National Right to Work Foundation staff attorneys. Because Oregon denies employees right to work protections that make union affiliation completely voluntary, bus drivers can be forced to pay part of forced union dues to keep their jobs. AFT union officials confiscated full union dues from the drivers' paychecks without informing the workers of their right to refrain from formal union membership. Union officials continue to confiscate full union dues from both drivers who refused to join the union. After the 6 drivers represented by foundation attorneys filed the federal charge, union officials were forced to settle the case and also agreed to refund back pay to 4 other drivers. AFT Local 6732 union officials made a mockery of federal law in order to keep their forced dues gravy train going, said Mark Mix, president of the National Right to Work Foundation. This case underscores the need for Oregon to pass state right to work protections for its workers. An update to one of our recent previous reports, with the help of National Right to Work Foundation staff attorneys, another Maryland IKEA employee filed federal unfair labor practice charges against IKEA and the International Association of Machinists Union. Herman Brunswick Jr. alleges that union officials failed to notify him of his rights not to join the union and pay full dues and illegally threatened to have him fired for refusing to pay up. Brunswick's complaint follows similar charges filed by 2 of his coworkers, Kelvin Smith and Robert Rammel, last January. In Maryland and other states without right-to-work laws, employees can be required to pay union dues just to get or keep a job. However, workers also have the right to refrain from formally joining a union and opt out of paying for union activities unrelated to workplace bargaining, such as member-only events and political activism. Not only did IAM officials in IKEA fail to notify Brunswick and his coworkers of their rights, they actively misled employees about their union obligations. IAM officials claimed that joining the union and paying full dues were required as a condition of employment. Faced with the prospect of losing his job, When Brunswick asked about his right to refrain from financially supporting the IM's political activities, he was told by a Machinists union official that he had no such rights. After he learned otherwise, Brunswick resigned from the union and objected to paying for union political activities. The IAM, however, refuses to honor his objections. Brunswick's charges will now be investigated by the National Labor Relations Board, a federal agency responsible for administering private sector labor law. Union officials actively misled IKEA employees about their rights in order to collect more forced dues cash for the IAM's coffers, said Mark Mix, president of the National Right to Work Foundation. Independent-minded workers will continue to face similar schemes until Maryland passes a right to work law. Thank you for watching, and we hope you will tune in for next week's update of the National Right to Work's ongoing legal battle against forced unionism. Please visit nrtw.org for information about these and other cases, or to inquire about the Foundation's free legal services.